Hi, everybody. It's Megan Gill here with Paint Flowers and More. And today we are going to paint some zinnias. So I have some zinnias over here that I'm looking at, and then I have watercolor that we're going to be working in today. And today, if you like what you see, please sign up for my newsletter at meganbaileygill.com/sign up. And that will get you more information on me and what's coming out. And I also subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like what you see, because I am hopefully doing it every week. That's what my goal is. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to trade over here for what you see. And now I'm going to come over here to my zinnias that I'm going to do. So what I am actually doing is I have them over here. Notice I don't have anything mapped out or drawn out or anything like that. So I wanted to this is my watercolor block, Canson watercolor block. It's 6x9 and it's 140-pound paper. I have some water up here. And I have my Winsor Newton Cottonman palette happening right over here. So, and I've added some Titan Buff to that. That is not a normal color that comes in that. So what I wanted to do is kind of loosely do this. I did not want to spend too much time, and I have my little timer here. We're going to set it for 20 minutes and see what I can come up with. Now, who knows how this is going to work? I don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some colors. So I've got my pink here, and we're going to just start with the pink. So this is a number 6. I can't even tell what it is anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by doing zinnias are little, they have lots of little petals. And I think a lot of people like, this is not my favorite thing to actually paint because there's just so many petals. But one of the things that I want you to get into is that it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm looking at the shapes of the actual petals and coming in and lightly just drawing around them. So these up here, there's not that many. And I'm just going to come and go around. Now, what's interesting about the more round they get, the more longer this petal gets. And of course, they get shorter as they go around because of how they are actually done. So, and you see how I'm kind of making little rectangles, but I'm coming back in and making them a little bit fatter on the ends. And some of them are longer, some of them are, and I am taking a little bit from the previous petal. Okay, now I'm liking what's happening there. That's looking like one. All right, I'm going to leave that the way it is. Would you like to have that zoomed in? Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. There. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to change my color to a little bit more red. So I've got some red and I'm going to do the same, but this one is more um, open. So all I'm doing is I'm using the shape of my brush to kind of come in and draw slash paint what I see. So this is that exercise almost of like you're drawing what you see, but this time you're just painting it and you've got a little bit more wetness on your brush. See, this one's a little bit more open and it gets a little bit tighter in here. And then there is some over here. So notice there's always this spot right in here in the center of these that I'm just not choosing to paint right now because I'm going to come in and there's some yellows in that. And then You're going to find out what kind of painter you are now. You got to be okay with the ugly phase. And you got to be okay that it's not exactly what you see. This is practice. All right, so that's pretty good for me. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a yellow orange one. Let's just use straight orange. So here's my orange one, and this one is more over here, and it's quite large. So I'm going to start with this center part, right? And then it has this little bitty. They have a lot of different shapes to them. But the key is all of this white space. You see how the white space, and they do touch each other just a little bit. And they come out just a tiny bit. And sometimes the direction of the actual petal comes out a little bit. And you see how I'm making some a little bit transparent and some less transparent. Now, they're not all perfectly round things, right? So I'm making this one just a little bit more heavier on one side there, all right? Because it's tilted a little bit. Now that I've got these in there, I'm actually going to keep going, and I'm going to add another red one, and I'm going to do it like right here, and it's going to be behind this one. So all I'm going to do is come in, and this is only half of this flower. The other half is like right in here. Like the center is behind underneath this flower. But you're keeping in the shape of the actual roundness, like donut shape. And it looks like a little blob, but that's okay. Then I'm going to take a little bit of that pink and I'm going to do another one, but this pink one, I'm going to do more like this. This one I see more, lots of little lines that come up, and I'm going to come in. Okay, let's do another one of those. Let's do that like right in here. I'm going to angle this just a little bit. So I've done that, and then I'm coming in and I'm going to add just a little bit to know that, hey, there's some more in there. Okay. Now my pink has turned into a peachy color, which works okay for me, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a little bit of darks. So we've added the first layer of this. Now we're going to start adding some darks. So inside here, I'm going to come in and I'm going to add a little of the burnt sienna into some of these colors here. And they're going to bleed just a little bit. But you see how all of a sudden these have started to really shine like, oh, there's an actual darkness, deepness to these, right? And I'm coming in and just adding a few in here. All right. I like that. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the same to the red. So I have my red and I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna, add to it. You know what? I think I'm going to add a little bit of purple to make that a little bit of a darker. Okay. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to start doing where I see some red. Remember, this one was kind of more open. So there's a little bit darkness in this on these layers here. You see how that's popping that out? There's only a little bit right in here. Ah, these are cute. They're getting there. All right, now I'm going to come in to my orange one, and I'm going to add a little bit of that burnt sienna right to my orange. Okay. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to do it. Now this one had a little bit more darkness over here in the top portion of this. Oh, I got 10 minutes to finish this up. That should be fun. All right, so I've got that happening. Now let's go into that pinky red. Notice I've added that all together. And I'm going to come into this and I'm going to look at it and just go where this one's pointed out a little bit. So I see it where it tips up. I'm going to do that on this one too. This one tips up, which means I see a lot of shadow right here at the top. All right. This red one down here, he's an interesting little bird because he's behind it, right? He's behind that other one. All right. So what I'm going to do is he's really dark. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to start adding some darks to him. Now that's pretty cute. Now let's talk about some greenery. So we need to have some greenery. So I'm going to take some green and I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and a little bit of my burnt sienna to make an olive green. And I'm going to start coming in and looking at these flowers alone. While this is a little wet, I'm pulling in and I'm going to just then take it and lightly put it in. You don't have to always, what's the word for it? Draw the stems. Sometimes they're behind things. All right. So think about that when you go to put these in. This one might not see any at all, but might have some greenery next door to it. So if we take some green and we add a little bit of these in here. Now, I think I'm looking a little, what's the word for it? I want a little bit more blue. So I'm going to plop that in to some of these. All right. Now let's work on the center of these. They are very dark, but they also have some real pretty yellow. So make sure you have a clean brush with some yellow. And at the top of this, I'm going to just add a few dots of yellow right in the center part. Now, after that, I'm going to take a little bit of black and a little bit of brown. That black just eats it up. There we go. So just added a little bit of brown and black together, and I'm going to put it in right here. And when you start adding the centers of these, that's when you start seeing the actual flower, right? Like you're like, oh, that's what that is. All right, but that doesn't, what's happening with all of this? So one of the things that you can do at this point, you can go, oh, so I see this, I'm going to come in. What if I make this one just a little bit bigger? You see how I've blurred it out a little bit? that blurring out of it a little bit makes it have a little bit more weight, and it's a little bit transparent, so it kind of looks like it's taking up more weight. You see how it's blurring this part right here? Now, in here, I'm going to add some darker greens. Now, this was in an actual container, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to paint this little vase and add a little bit of shading to it because it is actually a white vase with a handle. Now, do you see how I'm leaving a whole lot of white space there? Because I don't need it. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to this vase because I just like blue. Into the shadows. Shadows would also probably have a little bit of pink and some red because it would be reflection. Okay, and now I'm going to come in and I feel like there needs to be another flower right about here. So what if we went in and we added another little one? So we added that. We're going to take a little bit of green and pull it. Yeah, that's what I like. I like that a lot. I'm going to take a little bit of darkness, add it to the tips. Uh-huh. Now I like that darkness so much that I'm going to start adding it a little bit more in here. Notice I'm doing a little bit of shading here. And it always dries lighter than it is. So when you get scared, know that it's not going to stay that way. I'm just adding a little bit more weight to this one into there. I'm still remaining with a lot of white space around those. Now I'm liking that. So I have 5 minutes now ready to do it. I'm going to actually add a little bit of a yellow to some of these greens. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more of, I like wispy thingies. Yeah, that's a technical term. Wispy thingies that fill up some space. And I do it with whatever color I have left over. And that one's a little dark, but you see how I'm making this dark area right here? And I'm going to make this one even bigger. You see how I'm just arranging it. At some point, I'm stopping and I'm not looking at my reference anymore, and I'm playing with what I have. And coming in and lightly making some shadows in here. And that is looking pretty good. Okay, so I actually have 2 minutes left. And what I'm going to do here, I think I'm going to get my rigger out. That's a real nice little, and see how the nice point on it. And play with making some really little lines. Really starting to like this brush. I am having to, now do you see what I'm doing? I'm actually stealing from my center on this. And I'm trying to make this whole side just a little bit deeper. and coming in and making that a little darker. Now I'm really liking the way that's turning out. Okay. And so this is our lesson for the day. I got 1 minute left. And let's zoom out so you can see everything. And I will show you up front. And that's our lesson for the day. So this is super loose zinnias. And I use 2 brushes with my watercolor palette. And I look forward to seeing you next time. So if you liked what you saw here, and you want to see more, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, sign up for my YouTube channel, and sign up for my newsletter, and you'll have more and you'll know more about what's going on. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see your zinnias. Thanks. Bye.